Hello.
Here we go.
Yes,
This is the first, I think, in a line of many.
I hope so.
I think so.
Yeah.
I know so. Hi, everybody. This is
Hi.
my lovely, pretty in pink wife, Angie. My name is Rick. We are Harmony Vintage. And today is one of the first tutorial videos that you are going to be teaching people how to paint and what you've been doing.
Yeah.
We've had some requests. Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
You have a gift, a talent, and for teaching and for creativity. So,
Thank you.
Oh well, it's
That's
true.
nice.
It's just like saying the sun is out. It's a true statement. And so you've been working on some things, some Valentine's things, and you want to show our friends what you're doing and how you're doing it to help them to kind of open the door to their inner crafter.
Right. Yeah.
So it'll be exciting. It is our first shot at this. There's probably going to be some bumps, so expect some wonkiness at some point. But our goal is to do this more and to get better and to present you with something that you really want to, that is a benefit to you. We don't want to make videos that we wouldn't watch ourselves. We want them to be of interest and of value to you. So Angie is going to paint and create over here, and I'm going to be right over there trying to work the camera. So
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to say before I kind of slide around the other end?
Nope. I think that's everything. Thank you for doing that.
Well,
I appreciate kind of holding my hand over here.
I know you're nervous, but I love you. You're going to be fantastic.
Thank you.
I believe in you.
I'll
be right over there.
So hi, I am Angie, and Rick, my husband, and I run Harmony Vintage Decor. And one of the products that we sell is IOD, so Iron Orchid Designs. And today I'm just going to be playing with them a little bit and show you kind of what I've been doing. We're in that weird lull after Christmas and before spring. Typically, IOD releases new products every spring, and we're waiting for that to happen. But in the meantime, there will be Valentine's Day, and there are so many great things that you can buy from IOD right now and get started. You don't have to wait for the spring release. So let me show you some little Valentine things that I've been working on. We showed this in our Friday video. We showed this little, it's just a wooden heart that I bought from Hobby Lobby. I bought a whole box or a whole bag of them, and I bought them last year, so I don't remember how much they were. But this is one, I just painted it and added some transfers and a bow, and I thought that turned out really cute. But I think what Lisa was asking about, and what I want to show you today, is how to paint the molds. So IOD has these transfers like this, but they also have a product, their molds. This is what they look like. So this is just one. They have lots of designs. This is the Angelic Tapers mold, and it was a Christmas ornament, although I'm sure people are going to make other things out of these because they're pretty cool.
They're pretty awesome.
Yeah, they are. So I'm just going to show you what I did. Here, a couple of examples here. I used some air dry clay. I'm hoping you can see that pretty little angel. And the air dry clay, I just pressed in just to the top part of the angel. I didn't include this taper part. And air dry clay is soft, so I could just trim to the bottom. So she's nice and pretty, and she fits on this heart really well. So I did that one. I also cast one of the other angels, this one, because she was a little bigger. Her wings are a little longer, and she didn't fit on the heart. So I thought I would cast her in resin, and that way her wings could hang off the bottom of the ornament, and the air dry clay would be kind of soft and would probably break off. So she's going to look like that. And let's see, what do I need to explain? So I had that same wooden heart, and I just used, for this, I've been using some acrylic paints. You can buy these at Hobby Lobby or your favorite craft store in a lot of different colors. Like they come in a crazy amount of colors. So I just picked a pink that I liked. And then I also used this Christmas transfer. This is an IOD product. It's called Tencel. It's one of their gilded transfers. And let's show you what I did. They had this neat music paper. And as you can see, I traced out the heart and I laid the transfer on here. And I didn't want the words to show because it's a Christmas song. And so I just didn't transfer the words. I just skipped over that. I only did the music parts.
That was genius.
Well, it's easier than it sounds, maybe. It actually was pretty simple. And I think it looks really cute.
It looks adorable. And honestly, it was less work.
It was less work. And yeah, so you could use this for any occasion. It doesn't have to be for Christmas. So that's what I'm going to start with. I also chose resin for this angel because I wasn't sure if I put air dry clay on top of this transfer, I thought it might pull it up a little bit. So when I'm done painting her, I will glue her on with a permanent glue like Aleene's
E6000.
Tacky glue. You could use E6000. You could use, there are a lot of different glues that you could use, but we'll just affix her permanently. But another advantage to painting or casting her in resin is that she's hard enough that I can paint her. Like if I did like this one that I did in clay, because it's soft, I had to paint her glued onto the wood piece, and so that it works. And I did this one too. I'm gonna use the same technique that I'm showing you today on her. I won't do it on the video, but it'll be a little trickier because it is already glued onto this wood piece. But for her, today, I'm going to show you kind of how to bring her to life, because these IOD molds have amazing detail. And hopefully you can see that. When you use resin, this resin's white like this. I took some gray acrylic paint and did a couple of coats on her, so it mostly covered her. And the reason I want to do that is I like to have that dark color on the base, and then as you'll see when I start painting her, some of that's going to show through. It makes her look a little more old, maybe like she was carved out of wood or something like that. Anyway, that's what I'm attempting to do. So I think you were asking about how to do resin in the mold instead of the air dry clay. So I used a little bit of air dry clay and made a little dam here so that when I poured the resin, it didn't go all the way down into this taper. It just stopped. And so I'll show you the bottom of this. It turned out a little chunky. I did have to use an X-Acto blade to kind of smooth it out. She's still a little rough down there, but for my purposes, I don't mind that. So if you did mind that, you might have to come up with a different technique, but that's the technique that I used.
If you have a better one, let us know.
Yeah, definitely. That was my first time trying to make a dam.
I thought it was genius.
Well, it worked. It worked for my purposes. So,
and I like the weathered wood look.
I do too.
That's what it reminds me of, is a kind of a weathered wood.
Hopefully that's what we're going to see. So I'm going to show you how I add the color to this while still allowing some of that dark to show through, so that she looks a little bit aged, maybe like she was carved out of wood. And I did this on another project that people liked, and I think that's why Lisa asked. So thank you for asking, Lisa, and hopefully you can follow along and see how I did this. We're going to switch the camera, and then I'm going to start painting. Okay, so like I said, I'm using acrylic paints. Now, I've painted for a long time, so I have a large collection of a very eclectic collection of paints. I'll show you what I have. It may or may not be available. But this one is the Deco Art Americana in Natural Buff. And I always shake mine up. And I'm just using a little piece of plastic here. This is a thin mount from IOD. And it doesn't take a lot. So just put a little bit on there. And when you're painting with acrylics, I like to get my brush wet, but then I also mostly dry it off on a paper towel like this. And I'm going to start painting her face. And the face I do want to cover a little more than some of the other colors because, I don't know, it just is going to look better to have her face just mostly a skin tone color.
What kind of brush?
And this is just an artist's brush. And you can get as fancy as you want. Brushes can get, expensive and super fancy. I usually, I don't know, what did I pay for this one? It doesn't have the price on here. But this is just an acrylic brush around for, honestly, anything that will fit the space that you're painting is what you want. And as you can see, this, if you're used to painting with chalk paint, this does not cover like chalk paint. This will take several coats. And so I'm also going to get her neck down here. And acrylic paint, it dries pretty fast, but it is a little bit thinner and it may take more coats than you're used to doing if you're using a chalk paint. But she's still looking a little gray. But here she is with her first coat. And so I'm just going to rinse my brush in some water, get that clean, dry it off again. And now I'm going to, I think, let's move to her hair. I was thinking for her hair, I'm going to do a couple of colors on her hair. This is a raw umber. You can get any brand really. You can get raw umber is a pretty normal color that you'll find in a lot of brands. And again, I'm just going to take my same round brush and I'm going to paint her hair. Now, because it's the brown over the gray, it's probably only going to take one coat of this. And with this, I don't even mind if it gets total coverage because that gray, it's not going to look bad peeking through. Not like her skin. She looks like she might be pretty ill with that gray skin. But the hair, it's fine because, hair has lots of different colors. Real hair has lots of different colors. Make sure you're getting the edge on the molds here. And she has really pretty hair. It's kind of curly. It kind of goes down on her dress down here. I don't know if you can see that. Even down here on her dress, she has some pretty curls hanging here. I'm hoping that this is all getting on here. You know what? Let's lift this up a teeny bit because I want to make sure I'm getting. Oops.
I stepped on the base. I'm sorry.
Right there, I think is good.
Sorry.
That's one of the tricky parts about filming that we're still trying to figure out is the camera angles and making sure we're getting everything. And you can see I got a little brown on her cheek. That's okay. I'll come back and fix that with the other color in a little bit. It's really weird painting on camera. I paint a lot, but not usually on camera, so I feel kind of weird about it.
It's interesting to watch you because I usually end up with the finished product.
Yeah.
And not the going through the process part. So this is very interesting.
Ooh. Now you know what takes me so long, huh? Like, what is she doing in there? This is what I'm doing. All right, so there, her hair, that's the first layer of her hair. And like I said, the acrylic paint, it does dry pretty quickly, but because the mold has the little kind of nooks and crannies, it won't be instant. So I usually kind of move from part to part. I kind of let that dry a little bit. I even think her skin might still be a little wet. So I'm just going to move to my next element. I was thinking, I think I'm going to do her dress pink because she's going to be on here on this dark pink. I think a really light pink might be nice.
That'll be really pretty.
It is a little different switching from Christmas where everything's red and green to a little more of these pretty feminine colors. I'm kind of enjoying it. And I also wanted to say, when you're painting, you want to be pretty careful, not to be really sloppy. You want to stay mostly in your areas, but you will inevitably get colors mixed in areas you didn't really want. And that's actually okay because when we get a little further in this process, I'll show you some things that I do that kind of clean up those weird edges so that they won't show. Because like right in here, boy, there's a lot of detail, and I am definitely getting a little sloppy with my paint. This pink is covering really well on the gray, though. Kind of happy about that.
It looks good.
Thank you. And I'm just trying to figure out what is her dress and what is her wing. So she has some pretty wings down here. I think I'm going to go ahead and paint these. I'm not sure what they are, but they're not wings. So let's go ahead and paint those pink. Paint this pink. All right, so now her dress is starting to get colored in.
It's looking good.
Well, you're starting to see the different elements pop out, and these are just the base colors. We'll come in and add a little more detail on there. So then for her wings, I'm trying to decide how I want to do her wings. I think what I want to do with those is, see what color I have here. I forgot to pull out the colors for her wings. It's only the major part of the whole thing. I think let's go ahead and do some white on here. I may be doing some other things. I don't know. We're gonna play a little bit, and I'm gonna switch up my brush. This is a flat brush that has been very well loved. As you can see, it is pretty junky looking, but for our purposes, that's going to be terrific. So we're going to get a little bit of water, dry it off. We're going to pick up a little bit of this white paint, and I'm actually not getting a lot. I kind of just want to get a little bit on the edge, and then I even want to take some of that off. And to do that, I like a nice rough piece of cardboard, and I'm brushing most of that paint off. And now we're going to start on these wings. And I'm hoping you can see this, that paint really mostly stays on the top detail of the wing. Can you see that? I'm hoping that shows up well. I'm going to get a little more paint. I'm doing that same thing where I am just brushing most of that off. If you take off too much, it's okay. You just go in and get some more. If you don't take off enough and you don't like the way it looks, you can always come back with that gray and kind of start over again. But these wings are going to be a really good example of how we want that dark color, that gray, to kind of peek through.
Just kind of accenting the wings a little bit.
Yeah. Yes. And we'll probably do a few layers of this. And you just kind of keep doing it until you like it. You don't really want to add too much at a time, because then it kind of goes down into the feathers and you don't see that pretty detail. So like if you look at this wing that we've started adding the dry brushing to, see how you can see all the individual little feathers and lines. And this one, they just don't pop. So we're going to do that. And it does take a while. This is something you've got to be a little patient. And personally, I just like to enjoy the process. You don't want to do this when you're in a hurry, in a rush, because then you'll probably end up having to go back and redoing it, or just won't be happy with how it looks. But this is a very delicate, you can't really tell how lightly I'm touching, but I'm really very lightly touching these feathers. Also, I don't know if you can notice, but as I said before, like some of the pink got on these feathers here, but as you dry brush, they kind of disappear. You don't notice that they had a little bit of pink on there. And then again, you want to make sure you do the sides. And the sides you can be a little heavier on, I think, because there's not a lot of detail on the side. So there is some detail down here, I guess.
You're very patient when you paint.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. It's relaxing, and I think it looks really good. So yeah, I'm just kind of scrubbing along on some of these parts that I want more detail, because there's a lot of beautiful little feathers up here on the top of her wing. See how she's coming together?
Oh, yeah.
That looking nice?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, this is going to just be to your liking. So you just keep going in here and adding white until you like the way that wing looks. I'm probably just going to do the one on camera because it's kind of boring to watch. And these wings, how they kind of overlap, you kind of have to stick your brush in there a little and make sure that some white gets in there too. So, yay.
Looks
like
awesome.
That?
Yes, I do.
And so I'm going to add some gold at the end of this over everything. So that wing will also end up getting some gold. But right now, I think that looks pretty good. I got some on her hair. I gotta go back and erase my mistake. So let's, we painted her hair the raw umber. I'm going to take, I don't know how this is going to work out, guys. I'm just kind of playing. a little bit, which is really what you should do.
Yeah.
Is just play with some colors. I wanted to try a little bit of this yellow. And I'm going to do the yellow using the dry brush technique that we did on this wing. So again, just a teeny bit on the brush. Brush it off onto your cardboard. And then just start to hit the tops, because her hair also has this amazing detail, just like the feathers. So can you see her hair is starting to look like hair? And and I actually kind of like this yellow, and I wasn't sure how they would look together, but I think they look kind of pretty. And I'll put gold in her hair too. That gold kind of covers all your weird mistakes. You'll see that in the end here. You could use a smaller flat brush to hit these details. It probably honestly would be easier. I don't know what that was. Making sure I hit these sides. I like that actually.
It looks good.
Kind of nice, yeah. Her hair looks very angelic, I guess. All right. Thought I might have laid my arm down in the paint, but I didn't. Okay, so I think another thing I was thinking, so this is the color I used for the heart. It's called, what is it called? Pink Blossom. This is Craft Smart paint. So I think what I'm going to do, her little pink dress, I'm going to dry brush just like I've been doing on the other parts. Put a little bit on my brush, wipe it off on the cardboard, and then I'm gonna dry brush her dress, get some of this detail to pop on her dress. And with this, that pink was not a full coverage, but I think this kind of demonstrates well how that dry brush technique just kind of the imperfections don't really show when you dry brush on top.
That's going to tie it in, that background.
That's what I'm thinking. I think, and there will be gold on top of this as well, but I think this color will peek through and will look pretty awesome. I'm going to switch to my round brush to get into some of those these little places over here. So it's kind of funny. It's really a little sloppy when you're doing it. When you're looking at all the details, it's kind of a little sloppy, but it all comes together in the end.
Yeah, you can see where it's going to tie in.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to show you on here. See how her dress, and then when we put the gold on top, I think that's going to look really good. So I think I'm going to put a little more of her skin tone, because that's the next part that you're probably really curious about, is how I do her face. And I'm going to be honest, the face is the hardest part for me. I don't know. You just kind of have to keep kind of playing with it. When you look at mine, my finished ones, and you really look at the face, you're probably like, whoa, what is that? But if you're just using it as an ornament, it's actually fine. But we are our own worst critics, right?
Yes. You
So
do magnificent.
she's starting to look human.
I think this is attached to a gift or a card would be so meaningful, right?
Oh, definitely.
Handmade gifts.
Yes.
That,
yes. And, right now, January, February, March, we can get a little bit sad not having sunshine around, and it's just kind of nice to have something pretty to hang up to look at while we wait for spring.
Well, this is a good time to have something indoors to be able to do, right?
Yes.
To take your mind off keep you occupied while you can't go outside.
I know. I like to craft all year. I mean, that's not really a secret, but in the summertime when it's hot, it's not nearly as fun as like right now. Right now you can, I was thinking, you could, if you have a fireplace, you could just set your crafting table up by a fireplace. We don't have a fireplace, but I always like to light candles and just kind of be cozy. And yeah, great way to spend a day in the cold weather. Drink some hot tea or hot chocolate. So she's starting. It does take a lot of coats. I probably should have done a couple of base coats before we started, but I wanted you to see how she looked like totally from scratch.
I think you did it right.
You do?
Yeah. Give people that totally from scratch look.
All right, so I'm back. You may notice I did a couple more coats here. I actually switched the color though because I was using this natural buff. I switched to a warm beige and it seemed to cover a lot better. And actually, she looks a little healthier now. She was a little pale.
She was a little anemic before.
She was. And then also you might notice I did add even a little more white to the wings and just kind of came in and touched up because I want that gray to definitely show through down in the detail. But they should primarily be white when we look at them. So
they look amazing. They got depth and
yeah,
they look really good.
Thank you. That's the goal, and I probably could even add more, but I think I'm going to stop there. We will be putting gold on the top, and I think that's going to look great. Now I'm going to work on her face. I think I said before, this is the hardest part because they're pretty small details. You don't want her to look too weird. And for me, I just I kind of have to play around with it a little bit and just keep adding colors. If you do something and you don't like it, you can always put that warm beige back on top and kind of start again. I switched to a little smaller of a brush. I don't know what this is, but it's pretty small because I'm gonna be the first thing I'm actually gonna do is start with a little bit on her cheeks because that's one of the bigger areas on her body. So I'm using that light pink color, and just like you would be putting on makeup or something, you just kind of want to add that pink to her cheeks. And I don't think it takes much to give you the eye to make her, because you don't really want her to look like
A clown?
A runway model or a clown or anything. Yeah, you want her just to have the slightest bit of blush on her cheeks there. And I may go in and add more. I mean, you know, it's definitely, for me, it's definitely a process. The next part, and this part is the the part that usually I have to go in and do this a few times because I will get a little crazy with the eyes. So I like to put, using my small brush again, and it's kind of hard to see the detail here, but I just kind of paint her whole eye white until they're a nice shape and they're symmetrical. Like, you don't want her to have one giant eye and one tiny eye. And the mold does have the eye there, but by the time I get a bunch of paint on there, sometimes I can't tell for sure where you want the eye. But I think I've got it pretty good there. So there, her eyes. Again, she's kind of a zombie now.
Looking zombie.
But so now I decided, I think I'm going to give her blue eyes. I don't know. Sometimes I experiment with the eye colors a little bit, but today I thought I might try the blue. This one is Mediterranean blue. It might be too bright. We'll see. And so now I'm going back, and I don't know if you can see, you can kind of see the very, like, the pupil almost of her eye in the mold. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I want to try to hit. Is kind of, and again, we're just trying to make them kind of the same, trying not to make her look creepy. But she does look a little creepy till she gets her pupil. So there's her. There's the blue.
Nice.
Poor girl. I don't think I brought any black up here.
You want me to go get some black?
Would you mind getting some black?
I would not mind.
I could use dark gray, but I think black would be better.
I will. Dark gray or black?
No, I want black.
You want black?
Yep. Thank you, dear. All right, this is another tricky part. I'm going to do her eyebrows. And I'm just using the same color as I used for her hair, that raw umber. So this is just a lamp for ebony black. And you know what else, if you wouldn't mind, would you go get me a toothpick?
A toothpick?
Mm-hmm.
I will be glad to get you a toothpick.
Thank you. Sometimes that's the best way to put a pupil on. Thank you, dear. Oops,
sorry.
Did I stab you?
I stabbed you. I felt bad.
Yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but on these little details, you just barely want to touch it. Because a little black goes a long way on a tiny little face like that. I was fixing my eyebrow a little. I got a little crazy. Kind of Groucho marks. Don't want her to look like Groucho marks. So I'm actually going to try just using this toothpick to get her pupil. The trick with her pupil is that basically you want them to be in the same spot so she doesn't look like she's looking in two different directions. So I pick out a good spot on the first eye. There we go. And then I want it to be pretty much in the same spot for her second eye. And it does cover most of that blue, but you can still see a little bit of blue peeking out. I want them to be kind of the same position, the same size. Starting to look a little more human now. And then I'm going to let that dry a little bit. There's still, she still needs a little white dot, even smaller than the pupil, that just kind of makes the eyes sparkle and come alive. I want to add a little more of the pink on her lips. Again, they're pretty small lips, so we don't want to get crazy. Just kind of want to hint at that color there. I could make it a little darker, but I kind of like it nice and light like that. I want her to look fairly natural. And then this part is not my favorite part. A lot of room for error here, but I need to add her eyelashes a little bit here. And getting old, just trying to see these lines is kind of small, but
stop.
I'm gonna try to hit. And I don't try for perfection. We just want to kind of give the idea that she has all these features. If you really study them, you probably could find a lot of mistakes. Hoping all this is getting on the camera. I kind of almost don't have any paint on my brush when I'm doing this because, like I said, a little color goes a long way. I really don't want to have a gigantic brown splotch where her eye is supposed to be. So, all right, hopefully that pupil's dry enough that I can go in now with the white, and I really want this to be just the tiniest little speck of white. And again, it's the same effect in the eye. You want these to be in the same position on both eyes. So here's that one. Let's put it on this one here. And that just really, I think that just does it.
Oh, wow. Yes.
So, I mean, I could fiddle around, probably for days to try to make her face perfect, but I'm pretty happy with that.
It looks good.
And And I don't know, you might have noticed too, for some reason the resin decided to have a little bubble right there on her nose. So she has a little weird spot on her nose. But, I'm just going to go with it.
Sometimes you just got to go with it.
Sometimes you do. So here's the final, I think the part that really makes it magical is I add some gold to all the detail. I'm going to do it over all of her, including her face. And so I'm using this Deco Art Glorious Gold. Make sure you shake it up. And we're going to use that bride brush technique with the gold. You could probably use, I don't know, like a rub and buff or something. I've seen people do that, but I've been doing this and it's been working for me. I might try that at some point, but for right now, this is what I like, because I feel like the brush kind of gives me a little better control than using rub and buff like on my finger or something like that. So I'm going to start here on, oops, stuck my finger in the paint. I'm going to start here on her dress. I almost stuck her in the paint. Let's move this paint. Paint's starting to get out of control over here. All right. So we're going to use that same dry brush technique. So I put some gold on my scruffy brush. I offloaded it on my cardboard, and now I'm just going to start brushing it onto my project. And you can go as light or as heavy as you wish. I go a little heavier in some areas. Like there's some of the detail on here that just looks like it should be gold. Like I don't know if you can see here on her dress, it almost looks like she has I don't even know what you would call that, like a breastplate or something. I don't know. But those elements I want to go super heavy on because I feel like in real life they would be gold. And then just kind of hit these other raised areas. So now you can kind of see, look at her dress now. It just pulls it together somehow.
It really does.
I think the gold is just that magic little touch. And like I said, I am going to do all of her. Make sure everything's dry. Like those eyes are maybe a little bit wet. So I'll probably wait on her face, and I'll work on her wings a little bit. Ah, beautiful.
You're adorbs.
I know. He likes it when I get so pleased with myself. It's a good feeling, though, when you kind of have a vision for something, and when it starts to come together, it's a really good feeling. I hope if you try this project, you get to feel that same feeling. And I would encourage you not to be too hard on yourself. Look at that wing now.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that so pretty?
That is awesome.
So pretty.
It brings it to life.
It really does. And then remember, we're going to put it on that wood back that also has the gold detail. I think it's going to really work well together. And at Christmas, I did the whole mold and made these into Christmas ornaments. And you could use, it's really the same technique if you wanted to do that. It's the same technique for painting. I also did the Santa sleigh mold, same technique. I think Santa's face is a little easier. These faces are just right there. You can't just blow them off. You got to spend some time. So there's her other wing. I'm going to do her hair. She is just glowing, isn't she? I love her.
You've done amazing.
Thank you. I'm pretty happy with her. She's beautiful. And then I am also, like I said, I'm going to do her face. I know you might get scared to do it, but I think it looks good to do her face too.
It seems scary.
A little scary. But, I just kind of imagine that a real angel would kind of have a golden look about them. I could be making that up, but that's okay. I'm painting, so I can use any color I want. All right, I think she's good. There she is, all painted up.
Oh, that looks beautiful.
And like I said, I will glue her on here, and probably add a ribbon or something to hang her. I'll post a picture of her all the way done. With chalk paint, you always have to seal it. You don't really have to seal acrylic paint.
Okay.
So I probably won't seal her. I might seal over the transfer just to make sure that's on there nicely. But yeah, what do you think?
Awesome, dear.
Thank you.
Is that showing up on my Valentine?
This could be your Valentine, yes. Although I don't know, this doesn't really look like you. Like you would want mistletoe or something.
I am a mistletoe guy.
But I love her. I think she turned out beautiful.
So good, dear. You did so good.
Well, thank you for watching my first tutorial video. Hopefully,
and you did great. You did great.
Hopefully, it only gets better from here. But yeah, feel free to ask questions. If you want to ask questions in the comments, we will respond. We definitely do check them. That's something we look at regularly.
Tell us what you'd like to see.
Yeah, if you have any other requests, anything you'd like to have us do, we'd love to hear about it, and probably we'll do it if I know how.
Unless you break out with some Evel Knievel stuff.
Right. All right. Well, thank you, and happy crafting. Have a great day.